So I guess the trend with episode 4 and 5 is stock anime episodes. Yep, 5 is just like I remembered it when I remembered it. Basically, we don't even have too much of a and B plot. It's more like a C and D plot with absolutely nothing going on with it. So, we're back at High Garden Academy. All the crabs are gone. And now we're dealing with Tyne and Sage being in a classroom all about magic. And then we got Rosemary, Parsley, and Snapdragon having to do an essay together. But that... And Rosemary and Snapdragon being complete jerks to each other. It's going both ways. I can't say one's worse than the other. And it's really, really annoying because I'm like, they had one interaction together. Just one. And it was during the ethics class where he hit her in the head with a freaking paper ball. You mean to tell me in the, I'm assuming, couple of months maybe since then, maybe even I'll be even generous, maybe like a month since then, nothing has happened. Like, they clearly have classes together. They haven't said anything. We haven't seen any sign that they actually hate each other or anything. And it's still a thing that Snapdragon has a crush on Sage. So I don't know why he's being mean to Rosemary out of the sake of that. But Rosemary's kind of being a jerk back. And once again, Parsley's the only one trying to play arbiter. It's kind of like whenever you get stuck with a group back in school. And you're the one trying to make sure everything gets done. But the other two clearly have no idea what they're doing. Or they're constantly butting heads or... they're being lazy. That's what it felt like to me, and I empathize with Parsley a lot in that one. But spoiler alert, they get the book done on Grofar's axe, which or Gorag's axe? Some axe. They really don't really enunciate too much on that one. But also, I guess there's a trident that becomes a tortoise shield too. Yeah. But yeah, so they go off and they do that. The big crux of this episode is Sage is still trying to learn new magic. Thanks to the Terra Sphere she got from the last episode. She's not good with it. Makes sense. She's only used old magic. It'd be kind of like if somebody goes from, using a fork and knife their entire life and then suddenly pick up a thing of chopsticks. Yeah, some people might be able to pick up on it quickly and other people might struggle with it. It happens. So, I'm not exactly against her trying to learn the magic and everything, trying to get better. But I just realized something, and I kind of feel stupid for not realizing it up until this point. One, why the heck am I doing this? But the real thing I didn't get is Tyne never uses new magic. She is a wood elf, a fairy elf, so she's both on the warrior and the mystic path. Like I say, even though we don't ever see her really on the warrior classes for the most part, but regardless, it's clear she knows magic, and she knows it pretty well. But she only uses old magic, so I don't know why everyone's harping on Sage's case of using old magic when Tyne does it as well. And they both have good reasons for it. One, I would say, a little better than the other because she knows a little bit and should be telling people this, but whatever. So, I'll get to that in episode 8. Episode 8. I believe that's when they start. 7 and 8 kind of dwell into it a little bit, but yeah, so this one's, Sage is upset. She gets paired with Amaryllis and, Tyne for a little group botany project ripped straight from Harry Potter. Rita Repulsa shows up and basically almost kills a student. Took a drink for that one. Yeah, the count for this one, 7. Mostly in the first botany class because Rita keeps trying to kill people. And also, I have an issue. Are there any good teachers in this school besides the blacksmith teacher? I'm being 100% serious here. The ethics professor doesn't know crud about ethics. Calloway doesn't really do much except talk nicely, I guess. I guess you can say that works. Rita outright rejects old ways. Sorry, math teacher here, former math teacher I should say, let me tell you a little secret. There's a lot of ways to do math. It's all pattern recognition and realization. And some people recognize patterns this way, some recognize it this way, and some do it this way. It doesn't matter. As long as you get from point A to B on your own without cheating, I don't care. So, saying, well, why would you use old magic when new magic is so much better and blah, blah, blah. It'd be like if somebody took out an abacus in a classroom instead of a calculator. They both get the job done, except in trig when you have to use ratios and whatnot with trigonometry, but they're not dealing with that. They're hypnotizing these little man-eating plant balls, and then they are snipping them off for some reason. But it shows something important here. When Rita shows off her new magic Terra Sphere, that one of the wands she has in her hair, it dies. Once again, wouldn't it make sense to know both old magic and new magic? That way, in case you run out of new magic, you can still call upon the old stuff to help you out. I mean, it just makes sense. And, she basically makes Sage feel bad, and then Amaryllis starts messing with Sage. And then Tyne supposedly makes her cry, but all she does is say, yeah. And it was literally like, I'd rather be eating that lunch than been playing around with these botany things. Yeah. She didn't do it on purpose. She didn't say, yeah, Sage. It wasn't even direct. It was a blatant statement. And like I said, very similar to Sheldon, she meant nothing of it. But apparently now she's the bad person here with all this. Not Amaryllis, not Rita Repulsa. I know that's not her name. I'm just going to call her that because it sounds exactly like her, and I'm pretty sure it is the same voice actress. But it's painful to watch. Because it's clear they're trying to do these things and have these big moments, but they're not really feel earned. Like the last episode, they earned a little bit of the whole Parsley and her family deal. I mean, we kind of saw a little bit of that in the first episode with her, response to Rosemary's questions and everything, and her reaction towards her family. Sage, we kind of got that little bit hinted upon with her whole beginning to dive into new magic versus the old magic. So at least there was something to build with that here. This is a throwaway episode. The only thing we learn really in this is, we meet, I think his name was Parsnell. I always forget his name. He's the Michael Jackson looking kid. Curly hair, young Michael Jackson, whose cousin is Cal, who will show up in later episodes, and, Cal's a whole nother issue in of himself. He's not the big personification of toxic masculinity. He's showing up next. But, he's basically a straight male, so clearly he's evil, jackass, horrible person, coward, and everything that is horrible. They even say that in this one. This is the first time I think we even hear the mention of Cal. We see him at a couple of background shots. But this is the first we ever hear of him. Sage doesn't even know much of who he is, but she's like, oh, he's the worst. He's horrible. I'm like, you don't even know him. But I guess that kind of ties into something that's going to happen the next, because I'm going to need I got a lot of this and a lot of this at the ready. I know what I'm in for the next episode, and it's going to be fun, I can tell you that. This is the one I've been dreading. Well, this is an episode 11, but we'll cover that. Well, episode 11 for something that would probably, if I was on Twitter, would get me canceled. Maybe. I don't know. But yeah, this one, I mean, it's a stock one, and of course, Tyne apologizes to Sage, everybody's happy, and it all wraps up. Amaryllis tags along because she's bored, and Parsley, Rosemary, and Snapdragon all finish their essay. We don't know what grade they get, but it's done. Which, I give Parsley credit, she wrote the outline, which is one of the most difficult parts, is actually the structure of your argument and everything, and especially for 5 pages, that requires a lot of forethought. Snapdragon writes everything except the conclusion, to which Rosemary scribbles some stuff, and then that's it. So it seems to me that Rosemary is skating by here a lot, and it's clear she's still has a massive bit of an ego trip. And if you think it ever gets squashed, no, it never does. I mean, she gets a little bit of a butt head with it when it comes to in episode 8. Yeah, episode 8, when there's a little bit of butting heads with her and Sage, but that's mostly on her end, but whatever, we'll cover that when it comes. Honestly, I'm kind of stretching here for this one, which is a run-of-the-mill episode with not that much, only about 6 or 7 drinks in it. And yeah, I mean, the only thing, like I said, we learned that we meet Parsnell, who's the Michael Jackson kid. We learn about Cal. We find out that Slime Boy's a bard, which he tries to sing in this, and I'm sorry, Panic Grimtongue from The Unexpectables is a bard. Olivier Larbert from Legend of Heroes Trials in the Sky is a bard. You are not a bard, good sir. And I'm not saying that because both those guys may or may not... Well, I know. I'm pretty sure Panic is bi, and I'm pretty sure Oliver. I mean, he's very open to the idea of beauty and whatnot. So I'm not the judge. I don't think I've ever said. But either way, bards, not a bard. And I'm not saying that just because of that, but because your songs are horrible. You literally have no charisma. And you sound like this the entire time. You sing okay like that. That's how he talks. At least now you can understand him a little bit better in this, but he still sounds like this. It's painful. Yeah, we go from the best to this, and I wish I could keep talking to prolong this, but I have enough time for one more. Do these in threes. We do them in threes. So up next is easily one of the worst episodes of High Guardian Spice. Some would say it's the worst, and I am entitled to agree with them, but I have a massive issue with episode 11 and a little bit of 12, but we'll cover those when the time comes. So, remember, drink responsibly, y'all. Drink water between your shots. And make sure to really enjoy those ads during your break. Because, boy, up next, if you ever wanted to know why I kept joking about the hashtag kill all men and why I say that they really, really dislike men, next episode, episode 6, Crushing Obstacles, will explain everything. And one thing I don't think a lot of people talk about, which, remember how I mentioned how the characters are nothing but mouthpieces for the people creating this? We'll get to that soon. But until then, y'all, as always, this is the $1 Critic signing off, and I'm gonna need more booze. Responsibly, of course, but I'm gonna need it. Goodbye.